Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to MindShifters Radio with your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeanie. Michael and Jeanie share with you the wisdom of the ancient Aramaic internal process of forgiveness. They offer tools and support 5 days a week. They will support you in building a solid foundation within yourself to live in pure love. In Aramaic, Rachma. Michael is the author of So Why Is This Happening to Me Again? For more information on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. And now your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael and Jeanie Ryce.
To the brightness within you and the truth that is rooted within me.
Hi, and welcome to MindShifters Radio with Dr. Michael Ryce. Our calling number is 646-200-4169. Press 1, and that puts you in queue to talk. We'd love to hear your comments and your questions. We welcome everyone to the show. Hi, Michael.
Hey, sweetie. It's awesome to be back at Heartland. Arrived here about 10:30 or so last night, and finally just kind of catching up with myself and getting things unloaded from the van, getting ready for Why Is This Happening to Me Again workshop here at Heartland. We're in the I guess it's the 4th day of a 10-day food, fun, forgiveness, and work program at Heartland. If anybody wants to come and play, it's not too late to show up at that program. And then on the 23rd of July, we'll start a 9-day Why Is This Happening to Me Again intensive here at Heartland, and then go into teacher training following that. So all systems are go, and our invitation today is the same as the one we give every day. Be part of the team that changed the world. Learn to take responsibility for your life. Stop playing the game that somebody else is at fault for what's happening inside of you. And if you don't like what's happening inside of you, that is, if you don't like your thoughts, your feelings, what you're seeing in the world, or what you're feeling in your body, then choose to engage in the process of forgiveness. You know, the single cause of war is that inside of us there's all kinds of drama and trauma that we don't want to deal with. And when somebody triggers that into activity, the tendency is for us to deny ownership of that, to blame somebody else. And when we blame somebody else, we are not able to heal the part of us that holds that pain. It's all an inside job. You'll notice if you've been through a particular painful reality 87 different times with 42 different people, you're the only one that was there every time. Your pain is about what's stored in your physiology. The tool of forgiveness, the ancient Aramaic tool of forgiveness, is the way we're going to put an end to war on planet Earth and create a world of peace, a place where human life is actually welcome to show up, and it's safe for it to show up. You might remember the song about Vincent van Gogh, the line in that song that said, "And this world was never meant for one as beautiful as you." Guess what? This world was meant for one as beautiful as you. You are that newborn child. You are that awesome active presence of love, even if you don't have awareness of it and can't seem to contact that or feel it. That's the truth of you. And this work is about restoring you to the truth of you by deleting everything in your bloodline that never belonged in a human system. What never belonged in a human system? Rage, grief, pain, hatred, vengeance, gossip, slander, murder. Those energies never belonged in your structure. And until you can go inside yourself and remove those things will draw or attract to you someone who will resonate them. I had this privilege about 30 years ago of getting to do some work with a gentleman named Marcel Vogel, who was a 23-year senior scientist from IBM. His career spans 11 years of age. He invented and patented personally at 11 years of age chemical light, up to where before he retired, he developed a magnetic coating that is what operates all hard drives in the world. That's Marcel's invention. That's the mind he was working with. He had a camera in his laboratory with which to take a picture of the high energy waves that leave the mind when we think a thought. If you hold a thought of rage, of grief, of guilt, of fear, guess who's coming to dinner? Somebody's going to respond to that which is in you, and they're going to do behaviors that will resonate or bring that up in you. If you deny and dissociate from that which comes up in you, that is, if you have a conversation about them while you've got turmoil inside, then you're now in a dissociated state, and you're unable to change the part of you that holds your pain. 2,000 years ago, there was this awesome piece of technology that was brought to the planet. It's called forgiveness. And it has nothing to do with the Greek idea of I let you off the hook for what's happening inside of me. You know, we live in a culture that says, you did this terrible thing that caused all this pain inside of me, but it's okay. I'll forgive you. I'll let you off the hook for what's happening inside of me. And, of course, that's not forgiveness. Please never forgive anyone ever again for anything. And people say, oh, that's right, I have to forgive myself. No, please, never, ever forgive yourself for anything. If you want to pardon yourself or someone else, let them off the hook because you're in pain, because they've done something that's crazy or off the wall. Great, pardon them, but don't believe for a minute that that's forgiveness. We've been conned. We've been lied to. Forgiveness has nothing to do with letting yourself or somebody else off the hook. It's the way that you go inside yourself and remove what never belonged. Imagine we've got a hard drive and there's a virus in it. And we don't have a virus removal tool, so we decide to make a second hard drive, a copy of the first one. That second hard drive is going to have the same virus in it, and it's going to create more problems in that second hard drive. So let's imagine we decide we're going to create a third, a fourth, a fifth, a 10th. Until somebody comes along with the virus removal tool, are we going to get a hard drive that's going to work properly? Absolutely not. Well, guess what? When one generation puts an energy into their structure that doesn't belong there, and you make a copy of the hard drive, that's called having a child, guess what? Notice, if you've ever raised a child, having a child is like having your unconscious mind hanging out in true living color and Dolby sound. Everything you never wanted to deal with, they're going to play out because they have the same viruses in their hard drive that you have in yours. It's been going on for 1,000 generations. And the tool for removing the virus was disappeared almost 2,000 years ago. For almost 2,000 years, we've been living in a world that has no virus removal tool for hatred, anger, anguish, terror, trauma, fear, guilt, shame. We've all been told, let somebody else off the hook because it's there, which reinforces and leaves that virus, so to speak, fully intact in you. If you want to change that, if you want your life to be different, pick up the computer, get on the computer, go to whyagain.com. Right-hand side, there's a link that says download worksheets. Start putting the pen to the paper, and every time you confront the slightest capacity for hostility or fear, notice how you can remember when mom or dad or brother or sister or teacher or preacher or whoever used to do that, and you bought into that virus, and begin to delete the virus. Finally, we're restoring the virus removal tool to the multi-generational database called a human body. We'd love you to be part of the team that changed the world. We'd love you to be one who says, I'm going to go to work with it. I'm going to do this. I'm committed enough that I'm going to remove every hostility or fear from my genealogy, from my bloodline. I'm going to clean up this hard drive, and I'm going to make of it a proper place to embody a human life. That's what we're inviting you to do. Go to our website, whyagain.com. In a few weeks, it'll be shifting over to whyagain.org. And on the right-hand side, there's a link that says download worksheets. Read Chapter 24 from my book. Download the worksheets. Start putting the pen to the paper. The next 5 links are 5 one-hour radio shows where we've walked a person through, in each show, a worksheet. And so the full set of instructions are there. There's no excuse to pretend I don't know how to do this because it's there. And then if you still have questions, if there are things you don't understand, then we invite you to pick up the phone. 646-200-4169 is our call-in number. Call in, and we'll support you and assist you in learning forgiveness, learning to remove, literally, your very capacity for hostility or fear. Creating in your physiology an appropriate space for this awesome presence of the human life that you are to show up safely within you. And all you have to do to answer the definition of, well, what's a human life, is hold a newborn child. You know what it is. You know how tender, how soft, how sweet, how present it is. It's life-transforming. That's how we all started out. And then the world started to punch their viruses into us. And if you're not functioning, literally on an emotional and cellular level, where love is conscious, active, and present, 24/7, 365, then you're not living a human life. If you go back to the ancient teachings of Yeshua, the whole game was about learning how to live a human life, embodying a human life, and functioning as a human being. So that's what we're here to support you in. That's what we're here to learn ourselves. And so, Jeanie, do we have any callers, anything happening in the chat room to be aware of?
Okay, I'm multitasking here. I've got
I know
Lenore.
that you're helping Lenore to learn the chat room, so and the switchboard. So that's all right. We'll just be patient.
So we have the chat room open, and there's several people that are in there. And Lenore, if you're watching me move the cursor over here on the right side, it shows the people that are in it, and right down here is where we can type in it and talk. And then
amazing technology, isn't it?
Over to the other tab that says Blog Talk, and that shows us the switchboard. And these little yellow triangles shows us somebody has their hand up. So all we have to do is click the microphone, and then we say area code 352. You're on the air. Who do we have?
Mm-hmm. Hi, this is Mary Lou from Heartland.
Well,
hey
hello,
there, Mary Lou
Lou
from Heartland. Isn't this technology amazing? Here's Lenore in the front room of my house, working on the computer with Jeanie, where we're controlling the show. Jeanie is in Bristol, Tennessee, running that computer from Bristol. And I don't know where you are in the property right now, Mary Lou, and I'm up in the back room. Isn't this awesome? And we've got people all over the globe listening to us. So what's on your mind today, young lady?
Well, I'm sitting here on the front porch, and remember, I'm feeling frustrated around tools and supplies, and that my whole work morning was just tracking down for people supplies, and so I didn't get what I had hoped to get done, and I'm not making it about anybody else in the room, but I am frustrated with that. And then I'm remembering what David said yesterday, sort of in the preamble for the work session, that we really can't do this for ourselves, that we really have to have feedback. We have to have support and from other people. And so one of my coworkers came to me and said, I don't know what's up with you, but it's all over your face. And it's like, and that's, it was like, okay, and that's just really, it's like, okay, so the frustration, which was at one level, and then to get the feedback, which is exactly the support I need to let me know that I'm not hiding whatever it is that's going on. And if I want to have
much as you're trying to?
Yeah. Or, well,
okay.
I was just trying to, like, not
cool.
make it.
So here's my feedback on my coaching for you, and we're getting to subtle stuff now. That's a perfect. Maybe you could put your phone on mute because it's feeding back, I think, from your phone. And then when you're ready to talk, just unmute it. Good. I think that sounds better. So anyway, notice, one of the things that happens, there's some interesting research out of Harvard that says in a time frame where 10,000 brain cells fire, the max amount of information that can show up in the conscious mind is 9 bits. And our words tell our minds which 9 bits. So I'm just going to invite you to notice the subtlety of your language when you say, and I'm frustrated about this. So what you're saying to your mind is, mind, I have a reality called frustration, which I deny and dissociate from. So show me that it's about the fact that I can't find tools. And your mind has to hallucinate a reality that shows you that your frustration is not about the content of your mind. Like, I'm sure you've never felt this quality of frustration before. Your mind will not show you that it's about your content and therefore empower you to change it. It will show you that it's about the situation you're in. Now, my input would be that if you look at the goal that you hold, and maybe the goal is there are a variety of worksheets that you might do around this. One of them might be to do things perfectly, to please somebody. It might be to just get the job done. It might be, it sounds like maybe you're missing some tools, so it might be to have the right tools. And so each of those goals, when you deny from your frustration, will cause your mind to select data about the external world and build you a picture that has you believing that your frustration is actually caused by the external world. When you can simply change that language to, here I am in my frustration. My mind is talking to me about how it's about what's going on out there, but I know that I've been through this frustration 87 different times in 42 different situations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to forgive, which means I'm going to look at the goal that I'm using here to cause my mind to upload frustration so that I see through a filter of frustration instead of through a filter of love. And so let's say the goal is to have all the tools to do the job right there at hand and easily available. Kind of sounds like that might fit. So forgiveness in that situation, in the Aramaic language, the word forgive is shabag, would look like canceling that goal. Now, when you just contemplate canceling that goal before you actually do it, oftentimes the non-being mind goes, that's just like, what are you talking about, cancel that goal? That's what I need. That's why I'm frustrated because... But as you actually cancel the goal to have all the tools readily and easily available to get the job done, and you take a breath, you get to look down into the dissociated part of your mind that holds this capacity for frustration, and you get to delete frustration. And as you delete frustration, what shows up, as you go through that whole worksheet process, what shows up is your fully conscious, connected human life with its faculty of intuition. And the tool that doesn't seem findable, intuition will just go, oh, it's right over there. It'll walk right over, put its hand on it, and walk back with it. So it's about deleting the old carbon-based memory games that tell us that our pain, our hostility, our grief, our rage, our frustration is about something outside of us. And softening, notice that when you're in frustration, you have to tighten a part of probably your throat, maybe your jaw, your torso, your buttocks, maybe your legs. And what happens when we tighten is we go into resistance. And that resistance, literally in the Aramaic language, the word Satan is a lowercase word that means the resistor, one who misleads. And so when we go into resistance, we tighten, we lock in the energy of the frustration, and then where we hold that energy that we've dissociated from, we hallucinate, we're misled into believing the story that it's about what's happening outside of us. It's about not having the tool, instead of being about the content that I need to heal. And so when I'm in that tightened place, my body, my throat, wherever it's tight, that literally, in the Aramaic sense of the resistor being misled, becomes Satan's domain. And the active presence of love is not welcome there, is not able to get in there. And when you soften, when you cancel the goal, you collapse that, you're able to soften that tissue, you're able to let your sweet, awesome, active being, love, into that part of your tissue structure. There is a super processor that in Aramaic was called Rukudakucha, a literal feminine elemental force in you that when you invite it into activity, undoes the effects of your errors and teaches you the truth. So as you soften and go into willingness and allow that power to come into your tissue structure, to come into the place, if your throat's tight, to soften your throat and let that energy in. If your buttocks are tight, to notice that and let that energy soften and let it go in. If your gut's tight, if your throat's tight, just keep paying attention and breathing. And as you breathe, invite that power in with the request, I'm ready to be finished with frustration. I'm ready and willing to get to the point where no matter what stacks up in front of me that the world says I should be frustrated about, I'm going to be so healed around frustration that I tighten nothing, I lock into nothing. I am an open, flowing vessel for love and achieve the results that I want. Does that help?
It does help. And what I'm getting is that the worksheet is just to get me to the place of ownership of where the frustration is, and it's in me. And the next piece of beyond the frustration, it's that willingness to soften and allow Ruka Kucha to heal, because that's, I've been canceling the goals, and yet I kept making them my goals. And it's about the goals, and it's really about the triggers. And the trigger ownership is that I've got nobody can get my goat if I don't have goat. So my goat of frustration and my goat of pain and all that other stuff.
Awesome. So we actually had a woman here several years ago who used to call the reality management worksheet trigger sheets. And so I join you in softening, and I'm just going through my own structure, noticing where I have any tension. And I'm breathing into it and letting it soften in support of you being able to open. And, when you open the place where the event, there's a great line in the Course in Miracles that says the slightest irritation covers the deepest rage.
Yep. Yeah.
And so I join in softening and opening those spaces. And if that's what's down there underneath it all, getting safe enough to let it come up, and as it comes up, have it be exposed to the active presence of love, which just puffs it, dissolves it.
Thank you.
I breathe with you.
Yes, I do feel energetically in my body a lot different than when I started this. And taking ownership.
Your voice has shifted significantly. I can feel the shift in your throat.
Yeah. And they've rung the bell, and I'd like to honor my agreement to show up on time. So thank you so much.
Cool.
God bless you. Have a wonderful.
Well, enjoy. I hope there's some food left for me when the show's over.
We'll make sure that happens. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Blessings. I love it. Thank you, Mary Lou. That's really sweet energy to move into the willingness to let these things move and let them go. So if you're out there in radio land and you've got something going on in your world, and you've got frustration, anger, rage, guilt, grief, pain, there's a reason. And the reason is because you hold a goal. It's telling your mind to produce lies. It's telling your mind to produce an hallucination that what's going on inside of you is about what's happening in your life, that it's about what's happening outside of you. When you make the mistake of taking something that's happening inside of you and hooking it up to what's happening outside of you, all of a sudden you cannot access, you cannot change that which is happening inside of you. And because that's what the whole world is doing, we haven't seen forgiveness in almost 2,000 years. We see generation after generation after generation just increasing this hostility, this rage, this guilt, this grief. If I had a hard drive, as I said earlier, and I make a copy of it, and there's a virus in it, second generation, third, fourth, fifth, 10th, 100,000th generation. If you go back and listen to what was going on in this planet 10 generations, look at the history 100 generations ago, how people were slaughtering, violating, viciousness with each other. And there's been no virus removal tool. Viciousness, angry words, hostility, grief, rage, guilt, sadness, hatred, vengeance, terrorism. All of those are energies that have been integrated into our physiology. And, when they said in the ancient Aramaic, the sins of the fathers will be passed, yea, unto 3 and 4 generations, that wasn't some kind of theological threat. These people were physiologists. They were telling us exactly how this human system works. And if you put rage and grief into your structure, you put it into every cell of your structure vibratorily. You create a hologram in every cell, including the sperm and the egg. And when you to conceive a child tomorrow, that child would have that very virus, that very rage, grief, guilt, pain, whatever it is, in their structure, and they're going to get to live it out. And they're going to get to play it out. And when they play it out, it will bring up in you everything you've never dealt with. When you stop blaming the child and you go, oh, yeah, I never wanted to deal with this, and here's my child doing it, instead of pouncing on the child and trying to shut this child down, you stop and you say, what's the part of me that played this game? And you start canceling the goals you have for the child. And what happens when you cancel the goal you have for the child is that you get to see the part of your mind that's hallucinating that the child is the problem in your life. The process is called forgiveness. The technology is available on our website, www.whyagain.com. Right-hand side, the link says download worksheets. You'll find the whole story right there. We're delighted to be here to share with you. Jeanie, anything happening in the chat room? Any callers?
Hi. Nobody has their hand up. So if you're on the switchboard, there's actually a whole lot of people out there, and you want to talk, please press 1. That lets us know, and we can turn you on. In the chat room, everybody's just kind of saying hi. Let's see. I think there is a question. Lisa says she's had worksheets around the same issues.
No.
And Peacemaker says sometimes it takes many times to find the same source, depending on how deep and how structured. And there's a lot of guests that are listening, so guests, you're not allowed to write in the chat room unless you're registered with Blog Talk, but you can send me an email at Jeanie, that's JEANIE, at whyagain.com, and I can read your question over the air. Like I said, we have a lot of callers out there, and number again is 646-200-4169, and press 1, and that puts you in queue to talk. But nobody has their hand up right now. And Dr. Tim is not with us. And I actually turned David's phone on and then found out that Lenore's using David's phone, so it's not really David that's on there.
Oh, actually, Lenore's using David's phone. Lenore's using my phone.
Oh, okay. Well, then David is on.
That's my 954 number. She's talking to you separately on my 954 phone. I'm on the 417 phone.
Then David is on there.
So maybe David's there. Well, let's talk to David. Let's say hello. David said things are just humming here. The crew, I got here last night at 10:30. There were 15 people down at the Heart Center, just open arms welcoming me. It was just awesome. Really, really, just really sweet to arrive and to get the greeting that I had. And there's just all kinds of stuff moving, healing. Stuff is just rocking along. It's fabulous. So, David, are you with us? He might just be listening in the background. I know he's doing a bunch of projects, and they're just getting ready for lunch down there. They're just putting lunch out. Ari's here, and Ari's so excited. Everybody is so excited about what's happening in the kitchen with Ari. The food. I mean, they just haven't stopped talking about how awesome the food is. You know, come to a Heartland Intensive, and you know, if you're into doing raw food at all, you will find the absolute best raw food on planet Earth here. I mean, it's so fabulous what's been happening here. And if you were to go into a raw restaurant and have the 3 meals a day that we have here, and the quantity of food that we have, the quality, you would spend to do 3 meals a day in a raw restaurant at least $100 to $125 just for the food. I mean, the food is fabulous. If you haven't experienced it, get on your horse, come join us. We're 4th day into a 10-day food, fun, forgiveness, and work project, and we've got one more still point session to do before we complete that, and then we'll be going on the 23rd into a 9-day Why Is This Happening to Me Again. So if you're ready to take your work to the next level, get on the website, check out the details for Why Is This Happening to Me Again. You can come and do 9 days. There are accommodations, most awesome food, workshops, workshop materials, everything. In that 9 days, we'll do why is this happening to me again, healing through relationships, communication. Did you hear what I think I heard? Did you hear what I think I said? Purpose, personal power, and commitment, empowered to heal, codependence to interdependence, mind shifters, hands-on energy field work, and still point breathing. That's what we'll do in 9 days. So we'll move some energy in a 9-day period. And so the whole 15 days, if you want to come and join us, is $15.75. Includes everything, the accommodations and all. So come and join us. And if you have a question, if the conversation that we just had with Mary Lou, if that brought any questions up, if you were sitting in the room with Mary Lou and I having that conversation, would it elicit any questions for you? If it did, push 1 on your phone and ask your question. That's really what makes the radio show live. That's what really makes it work, is having your questions and, refinements, the subtle points. People say, oh, well, this is a silly question. No, there are people who are totally new to it, and your question will open a space for them that is just going to bring so much to people's lives. So if you have that question in your brain cells, then put it through your lips and your tongue and let us hear it after you push 1 on the phone. Call-in number, if you're on the chat room or the board, is 646-200-4169. We would love
Michael,
to hear your sweet
have
voice.
A caller?
Oh, cool.
And it is area code 941. You are on the air.
Hi, Michael. My name is Alex, and this past Sunday at the Unity Church here in Sarasota, Florida, there was an announcement of a class being held Monday evening by Marie. And,
right.
And so I decided to attend with the intention. I've read your book a while back, and I decided to attend her class, which I did with the specific intention of getting clear on something that was very foremost in my mind. And Marie proceeded to do a worksheet with me as to what my goal was and what my punishment was and the various questions. And what emerged was, which was very enlightening, you might even say an aha moment for me, was
awesome.
My relationship with money or prosperity, and she used this linking example that I was linking up with something, and when I got to identify what that something was, it turned out to be a childhood attitude that my immigrant father instilled in me, that money wasn't my own. It belonged to my mother. It belonged to the family. It wasn't my own money. And all these years, I'm now a senior, I think I basically was operating under that belief that whatever money I made wasn't really mine. And so while I've had some successes, they were always temporary, short-lived, never really permanent, lasting prosperities. And so we were able to link up last evening, that my relationship with money was related to being mad or angry at my father for that attitude that I have basically had all my life. And it was a wonderful class. And now
that's awesome.
Now I'm listening to you for the second day. Marie had suggested it. I was on yesterday, Monday, and now today. And now I recognize that I have this pattern or habit that I'd like to release and develop some new habits. I think you say in your writings, brain cells. And that's where I am right now.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, to get in one worksheet, your first worksheet, and Marie is just doing some awesome work there in Sarasota and St. Petersburg. But in one worksheet to get to that deep an insight, and wow, that's just fabulous. And probably you'll see your money life start to shift and turn around in a big hurry at this point. And, you know, the whole idea of the work is to recognize that if we're withholding from ourselves in any way, shape, or form, you know, if you listen to Yeshua 2,000 years ago, he says the purpose of his work is to bring you life and bring it more abundantly. Mm-hmm. Now, there's some preachers who'll say, you know, money is the root of all evil. I have my hand out, give it to me. But that's not Yeshua's plan. Yeshua's plan is to live in the total abundance that is the divine right of a human being. Your Father owns the universe. God, how could anything be withheld? Except that you say, oh, no, not allowed to do this. I actually worked with a woman in Sarasota several years ago, and she had a friend that was dealing with some abundance issues, and she just couldn't get her friend to let go and open up. And she shared in a workshop that she had a dream, and in the dream, God took her to this huge, like as far as the eye could see, warehouse. And they went inside, and the warehouse was stacked to the ceiling, big, tall warehouse, shelves stacked to the ceiling with all these beautifully wrapped packages. And she said, God, why are you showing me this? And she said that what God said to her in the dream was, these are all the gifts that my children have asked for, and when I tried to deliver them, they wouldn't accept.
Wow.
Which I thought was just such a powerful visual of, if Yeshua is telling us the truth, he says, ask and you receive. Just set up the vibration of what you want. And, of course, being that we live in an abundant universe and the Creator has said, I'll do what you want me to do, there is certainly an abundance of poverty for people who feel like that's what they need. And there's an abundance of everything we're ready to open and receive. So I definitely join with you in receiving. And, maybe you'll start tapping as you work with that. That could very well be, when they said to Yeshua, how many of these worksheets do we have to do? In Aramaic, the Greeks translated it, he said 7 times 70. But in Aramaic, what he said was 77 times 70, which means an infinite number of times till you're complete with your whole desert, your whole multi-generational database and cleaning it out. And so you may continue to do worksheets around that and find some of the traumas that your dad went through and where and why he got a hold of those traumas, what went on in his life. And literally, you may find yourself delving into those, and as you let yourself get into that subtle, quiet, connected space, you'll actually be able to tap into exactly what happened. And as you bring those things forward, and, of course, step 4 in the worksheet's a really key step, and that is that I bring love, conscious, active, and present into the space. So, and the best way I know is to imagine holding a newborn, smile into the eyes of the newborn, and allow the warmth of your smile to radiate up and warm the frontal lobes of the brain. That's where a filter called Rachma is, which is what opens the gateway for human life, for love to enter the human form. And so, as you do that, you'll develop the skill of being able to decode or listen on deeper and deeper levels to the things that have gone on in your generations and let go of the ones that don't support human life. Because, the beauty and the simplicity of the forgiveness process is that when you cancel the goal, and the reason why you got in touch with what you got in touch with is you collapse. It's the goal that drives the perceptual output that says, oh, I don't deserve money, or I don't have money, or I don't deserve success, and when it comes, I throw it away. When I cancel the goal that drives that, that reality collapses.
With your host.
When that collapses, I don't know where that just came from, but when that collapses, that reality collapses, then you've got access to the deeper hidden part of the mind, and whoop, there's the memory. There's what it is. And as you keep doing worksheets in that venue, you may find yourself releasing not just yourself, but your grandfather. Do you have any children?
Yes, I have 4.
So by doing that piece of work, you'll change the life of your 4 children as well.
It was really wonderful. I'm also aware, I'm also a student of the Course in Miracles these past 4 years, and
right.
I would describe so far the difference between the Course in Miracles, which is also based on forgiveness, and egocentric behavior. And what I'm seeing in your teachings, Michael, is every week for years I go to the Course in Miracles meetings, and people know about ego, they know about forgiveness, but they're stuck in their same, they have the knowingness, and when they walk out the door, they revert right back to, or we revert right back to our old ego ways of thinking and doing things, whereas what I'm seeing here with the worksheet and the style it's an interruption in those patterns, or a means with tools of creating new patterns or new habits, and and therefore making the corrections rather than just going through it. Yes, I know. It's this transformativeness, but I also know that it doesn't happen with a click of the finger. That I'm making some goals now of plugging into possibly your game of 10 days or 40 days, a commitment of really reinforcing this new information so that it can become a habit for me, not just an awareness.
Well, it will absolutely work, and to me the key is the how-to. And interestingly enough, I've taught the course for over 30 years. We actually have a video entitled "Introduction to Advanced Understanding of A Course in Miracles," where I synthesize about 70 different lessons from the course. And one fellow who worked with the course for about 20 years shared with me that he realized as he was watching that lesson unfold that the course was like a 5 billion piece jigsaw puzzle, and nobody had the box top. And that once he did that Introduction to Advanced Understanding the Course, he had the box top. And in the Aramaic language, the definition for forgiveness is precisely the same as it is in the Course in Miracles. There are only two places on the planet I've seen an exact and specific definition of forgiveness. Now, I didn't see it or understand it from the Course until I understood it and worked with it from the ancient Aramaic teachings. But there's no question they came from the same source. But the definition, and I'm trying to think of, I think it's maybe workbook lesson page 305 in the old book.
Wow.
But the specific definition of forgiveness, it goes like this in the words of the Course. Let go all the things you think you want, your trifling treasure put away, and leave a clean and open space within your mind for Christ to come. We can talk about forgiveness all we want, but until we've got the technology to do it, that is, I have a goal, a driver, that's causing my mind to use something that's based in hostility or fear to produce my reality, I let go. In Aramaic, the word forgive is shabag. It's been translated as cancel, it's been translated as forgive, but it literally means to cancel. So when I cancel the goal, let go all the things you think you want, the Course calls your goal a trifling treasure. All the things that we say we want in the world. In the worksheet, you see a reference to the rose and the butterfly story, and I love to tell that story because it's so illustrative of non-forgiveness. So imagine we've got a rose and a butterfly. We give them each an ego. They meet. They fall in love. They have this wonderful relationship. But one day the butterfly up and flies away. The rose, knowing that the love of the butterfly is the most important thing in its life, uproots itself to give chase. What's going to happen to the rose? It's going to die. Why did it die? It made something more important than staying connected to its source. So whenever I have, thank you to Mary Lou for calling in over a simple frustration. Whenever I have a goal, I want the tools to be there when I want them to be there, or else I make that more important than staying connected to my source. When I want my spouse, my child, the government, the neighbor, the guy down the block, my children to do something more than I want to be connected to my source, more than I want to live a human life, I give up my human life and I initiate my own death. When I cancel the goal, and I've been working with the Course for over 30 years, I've never seen anybody who understood that forgiveness, the how-to of forgiveness, is about canceling the goal, putting away the trifling treasure and leaving a clean and open space. And what happens is, the Course says our part is to return the mind to the point where the error happened. And that's exactly what you did in that worksheet. And nobody has the how-to. It's been disappeared for over 2,000 years. And so we're working to restore it. That's why, Jeanie and I left home last October, and I got home last night. Jeanie will actually get home on the 21st. She'll get back here. So we've been out there for 10 months, and we'll actually be here at home at Heartland for the next 26 days, and then we'll be on the road again. And, it's getting that into enough hands of people who will use it that we create a critical mass that will shift the whole energy of the planet. And that's what I've been working for the last 45 years.
That's wonderful, Michael. It really is. Where is Heartland? Is that Texas?
No, it's in the Ozarks in southern Missouri. If you've heard of Branson, Missouri,
yes,
we're about an hour.
Cowboy singers go.
Yeah, we're on about an hour due east of Branson in the Ozarks in southern Missouri. We've got what used to be a resort in the town of Theodosia, or actually about 7 miles outside of town. So we've got 15 buildings and about 17 acres where we do our intensive workshops, and that's what we'll start a 9-day Why Is This Happening to Me Again intensive on the 23rd. So that's when Jeannie's coming in on the 21st to get back for that.
Wow, sounds fabulous. Well, thank you.
So
for
every mind, heart, and
call.
being. Hey, delighted. Pass the worksheet on. The idea is if each one teaches one, then we're going to hit critical mass pretty quickly. And I think we're on the verge of it. I think we're on the edge of it. Things are getting ready to shift on a planet-wide basis. Of course, because of the work of many people.
Right. And she did a wonderful job. She was very convicted, very sincere, and very good at identifying and changing the wording on how we express something to being more precise and really getting more to content, as you were just talking about, than the external stuff.
She is an excellent teacher. She's doing a really cool, really great job. She's such a gift down there.
Yeah. It's too bad we didn't have more people at the class, but that can change. And it all takes, as you say, one person telling another person, telling another person.
Exactly. And, there comes a point, as you progress in your process, that things can get pretty intense. And a lot of people don't want to deal with that intensity. That's when they turn tail and run. They'll start, this is fun, this is exciting, I want to do this. But until they start dealing with some of the deeper stuff, there's a line in the Course in Miracles. A lot of people who work with the Course kind of, it's like a nicey nice game. Everything's supposed to be nice. But there's a line in the Course that says, you may wonder why you must look upon your hatred and realize its full extent. When you start asking people to look at their hatred and own it and forgive it, it gets pretty intense. And that's when a lot of people turn tail and run. They don't want to do it. It's like, I don't want to feel this intensity.
It's like Freud. Freud said people say, I know I have this pain, but I don't want to change. I don't want to do the work to change or the correction.
Exactly.
So
we're here to support you, and of course we teach best that which we most need to learn, so we're all learning it together. Right.
Well, thank you, Michael. I really appreciate you taking my call.
All right, delighted. Blessings. Maybe we'll, we're going to be touring Florida in 2014, so let Elizabeth know that she needs to schedule us, and we'll be back there in 2014.
Reverend Elizabeth, I'll do that.
All right, blessings. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
We have 2 more callers. We're down to about 11 minutes. We're about 11 minutes.
Okay.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. We have 2 more callers. Area code 970. You're on the air.
Hey, Michael and Jeanie. It's Carrie in Colorado. And
hey there, young lady.
I have a quick question for you that I'm kind of groping to understand. By the way, I just appreciate all the previous conversations on this call. Really wonderful, great information and insights from everybody. As I've been working through these different things and getting to grasp at a better level the power person dynamic, and in the last few weeks in particular, I've been going through huge layers shifting and lots of major change taking place with doing worksheets and MindShifters. And
have you gotten to listen through the whole DVD of Codependence to Interdependence and Stay Awake yet?
Yes.
Awesome.
I've done the whole Healing Through Relationships and Codependence to Interdependence, and I'm just trying to get through, again, MindShifters and Still Point Breathing right now. And, again, I tend to fall asleep at a certain point, and I know I'm just dredging up unconscious stuff. So here's a question.
I acknowledge your stick-to-itness.
Thank you. And it's so worth it. I just am so grateful, and just to have the understanding that, okay, if I fall asleep, it's all right, that it's because I'm accessing unconscious levels. And if I'm experiencing grief, it's because of, not even just my own loss of life, but maybe even more of humanity. And, kind of getting those things at a deeper level is really helpful. And I want to ask you about something that I haven't even tried to verbalize yet, so I may have to stumble around a little bit verbalizing it. But I know that I'm understanding at a deeper and deeper level my power person dynamics. And then I sort of have this mode of operation, which is my lowest level of power person dynamic, which is being quiet, not making waves. And if anybody who knows me, I've lived a pretty adventuresome life. I've been on the front lines of many, courses and workshops in human consciousness and shifting consciousness. And anybody who would meet me wouldn't think of me as a quiet person, although I know that I just live in this sort of, it's a level of kind of being, it's a little bit of shutdownness that occurred, I know, in my early childhood in relationship to my power person. And then this piece that I'm trying to grasp and understand how to address and move through is that I had a pretty dominant, my history. I'm half Lebanese, a quarter German Jewish, a quarter mixed European. So there's some dominant things in just my genetics as a woman, I think. But this piece of feeling like I always need to put myself in a situation where somebody else, I have to be responsible to somebody else. I have never, even though people would look at me and think I'm really a free spirit and a free person because I've lived a pretty adventuresome life, but I know that I keep going back to situations where there's a dominant figure and I am responsible to them for either my job or a relationship. And I can really recognize that as a power person dynamic, that it's a resonance inside of me. So I'm choosing that person to be in my world so that I can get a reflection of that resonance. And I'm just really grasping it at deeper levels, and I'm trying to understand how to get through this so that I don't have to carry it around anymore and keep pulling this into my world. So,
right.
Any suggestions?
Well, my suggestion would be all of the above.
Okay.
That's all I ever talk about. That's every tool.
Right.
So,
I think it's something that really permeates our society, too, because there's been so many power cultures throughout history. So I know that it's even more than just my own childhood. And it's like there's this part of me, I feel like a chicken and an egg, like I want to crack that egg and kind of burst forth into being a really free being instead of one that is carrying these overlays that keep me from my full expression,
Well, basically what the world has done, as opposed to developing a space where humans are allowed to live, is the world's specialty is to set up slavery.
Yeah.
And that's the whole game. I don't care where you go. The game is about slavery. Now, people say, slavery was eliminated in America. Go back and read your history, folks. There was never the elimination or the outlawing of slavery, or what in the Constitution is called servitude. They didn't outlaw servitude. They only outlawed involuntary servitude. And we get conned into volunteering to be slaves. And where there is hostility, fear, and pain, there is slavery. And that's why we're encouraging each individual to own what's going on inside of themselves, to forgive that capacity for any form of hostility or fear, so you can step back into your full human expression, full-blown experience of the light that you're designed to be. That's what we're here to support, and that's what every tool is about, whether it's the commitment, whether it's the codependent worksheet, whether it's the reality management worksheet, whether it's the communication tool, whether it's the still point breath, whether it's the hands-on energy field work, which you'll get to see when you do the intensive next week. Every tool is about how do you do that. I don't ever talk about anything else.
Right. Well, I'm just grasping probably the depth of how ingrained in me that is, and how I'm just loving, it coming into the light and, seeing the path towards kind of creating freedom from that.
Fabulous. Well, that's what the work is about. There was this fellow 2,000 years ago who said, know the truth, and the truth will set you free. You can't live in a lie of blaming somebody else for what's happening inside of you and know the truth. And therefore, you can't be free unless you do that. And that's why the work of Yeshua, by and large, has been shunned, and people have bought into the slavery, into the hostility, the fear. We be nice to the people that are part of our tribe, but anybody who violates us, we pick up big guns and we kill them. And that's the brainwash of the culture. And, if you function as a human being, here's what Yeshua says will happen. You will love those who hate you. You will do good to those who despitefully use you. And once you recognize that, it's just, I was listening to as I was driving yesterday, I was listening to an audio book. And in this audiobook, they were describing one of the translators of the scriptures that was from Cambridge. This guy's a Cambridge scholar. This goes back into the 1700s. And this fellow shares what this top Cambridge biblical scholar was saying about someone who dissed something that he'd written. And the words that he used, he described this other person as vermin, a rat. The descriptors, there were about 20 descriptors that he just peeled off that this guy had written, this Cambridge scholar had written about someone who disagreed with him, who said that, he couldn't do what he said he was. And you just listen and you go, and these are the people who are translating the book that Yeshua said, that the law and the prophets hang upon the active presence of love in your mind? And you understand why it's so rife with this rage and grief and guilt and pain, because the people who are translating could only share with us what was in their brain cells. And they couldn't share the truth of what was in Yeshua's brain cells, who lived as the active presence of love. They could only share what that resonated in them. And when somebody disagreed with them, I don't even remember all the scriptures. I remember one of them was vermin and the other one was rat. Literally about 20 different descriptors. So until you go back with the mind connected to love in a human life and start to review Yeshua, you can get some crazy interpretations and understanding from it and justify all kinds of bizarre, off-the-wall behaviors. And so we're looking to eradicate bizarre, off-the-wall behaviors and create a space where we all together function as actual humans, as this awesome active presence of love we're designed to be. So we're here to support you, and I think Jeannie's got another caller for us. Jeannie, have you got a caller, sweetie? Mute button on, sweetheart. Hello, Jeannie. Well, I'm not sure what's happening, but we're down to about the last 45 seconds or so. So I'll just say that if you want to come join us, starting on Monday, we're beginning Why Is This Happening to Me Again, 9-day intensive here at Heartland. We'd love to have you join us. There is space. We're going to have a very small, powerful group here, and things are moving forward. If you want us to come and play with you, let us know where you are. Invite us. Put together a venue for us to speak. We'd be glad to come. We pay our own expenses. Our workshops are done free. We are here to support you in creating a space in your family system and in your community and in your culture for this awesome active presence of love that you are to show up and be supported, and thereby creating the best year yet of your eternal life. Thanks for sharing with us. Bring a stranger to the show tomorrow. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to MindShifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife Jeanie, who present that internal Aramaic process of forgiveness. Michael and Jeanie are here every Monday through Friday on Earth Angels Radio. For more on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. That's www.whyagain.com. WHYAGAIN.com.